that emboldened new players to join the competitive environment that had only seen growth. Realistically, the only way one could compete is to join their local arcade scene, if they offered a competitive environment at all. While online play was non-existent, the internet did tend to the community by allowing a quick, cheap, accessible way to promote local or grand-scale events. One of these involved an 18-year-old Phil Burnell. Initially entering the online space with the alias Wo Moses, he adapted other, short-lived nicknames such as Phil, Throw Like Hell Burnell, labeled as such for his strategy of using the throw move in Marvel vs. Capcom competitions that was viewed as unbalanced. Quote, everybody said that my victory was so quote-unquote cheap, and that I had no skill, unquote. Regardless, Phil was performing well in his local gaming scene in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The next natural step was to attend ECC, or East Coast Championships, that hosted various fighting game competitions. And to that, he said he would attempt to go. Phil had experience attained through many years spent visiting his local arcades, an experience that would otherwise be described as a fruitless pastime. The elitist nature and other unfavorable qualities that Phil was showing were more acceptable in these communities than they would be in others. And he did have that one thing that made him memorable, his aggression. Quote, I see it every day in my town. These little fucking wimps who call themselves quote-unquote thugs and pretend they're quote-unquote tough mofos. Well, if I ever get into a fight with one of them, hand-to-hand, I guarantee you, I'll be the one standing afterwards. And if they put one on me, I hope they have pretty good aim, because if they don't hit me with the first shot, I'll have already punctured the windpipe and ended their life, unquote. This was in response to the general aggression Phil received when utilizing his infamous throw tactics. While Phil's response teeters from excessive to entirely unrealistic, it does expose the way he viewed himself as a macho, hardened, threatening individual. And that's why he chose his new name, Dark Side, which was directly influenced by the song Dark Side from the band Crazy Town. The reason for the Y in his name in place of the I is to avoid readers thinking that his name was anyway attached to the Star Wars universe, as that would be too nerdy. Phil provides other reasons for his demeanor, such as wanting to act as a heel in this developing space. A heel is someone, typically in wrestling, that is an inconsiderate or untrustworthy person, and due to their distasteful nature, the wrestling community actually enjoys matches with them, as getting trounced on is the ultimate satisfying outcome. And so Dark Side, as he was calling himself, was set on practicing and playing the newly released Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Though his palette was diverse, this is what his sights were set on. But there was an unforeseen issue. The game, released in February 2000, meant that it was untested, and would not be at the East Coast Championship. Phil's solution was to make a tourney of his own, at Motel 6, with a $5 entry fee. The results are unknown. What is that Phil was ingraining himself in his local community, and that he just graduated high school as the valedictorian. A valedictorian is the highest-ranking student of a school's graduating class. The bestowment of such a title opened doors of opportunity. Ivy League colleges were in his purview, but he wasn't in theirs.
Yale rejected me, Harvard rejected me, there were 3 of them. I can't even remember what the third one was, but every Ivy League school that I applied to said, no. And you want to know why they rejected me? It's this simple. Because I'm a white male.
Where there is Phil Burnell, there are bound to be inconsistencies and lies. Here he states that it was because he was not racially diverse enough as a reason for not getting in, then later flips the excuse.
Just off of that premise, it wasn't my extracurriculars, it wasn't my academics, it was based off the fact that I wasn't a rich white person.
Another reason Phil provides for not getting in is that he signed up for financial aid, which he claims triggered an immediate rejection from the Ivy League schools. Whatever the case, his future had more potential than most. Throughout it all, he was still going to local tournaments. Here he recounts how the entrance for a local tournament doubled from 16 to 32 in just a year. He won this tournament, and with that, he is losing his potential. To make it big in this flourishing environment, practicing the game would have to encompass his life for nearly the next decade. And to finance the traveling, he took out various credit cards as his job selling yogurt did not provide enough income.
Well, you go to Evo 2K4, the fighting game championship.
700 players from all over the world, Japan, Europe, North America, South America, all over, right?
There's insane competition in the fighting game community, especially from Japan nowadays, and it's like a, you know, who cares about the flash? You can leave the flash there. Make sure the gameplay's solid. No more stupid additions.
Those were moments from EVO 2004. EVO, or Evolution Championship Series, was becoming the end-all be-all for competitions in the fighting game community. Every year, the event grew. It grew rife with competition, controversy, diversity, and of course, increased attendance of Darkside Phil.
East Coast versus West Coast.
In this particular moment at EVO 2002, the infamous Darkside Phil was selected as a sort of representative of the East Coast theater. Commentary from the people recording demonstrated how welcome he was.
Phil, you are not East Coast, please.
Even back then, they didn't want him.
As much as Phil promoted his ability, when it came to EVO, the player base was at an entirely different level than he was used to. Losses here were common, and people did not take kindly to his hostility online, where he would physically threaten his opposition.
I was the guy who always talked shit. I was the guy who always was like, man, don't get in my face at a tournament. I will fuck you up. I will throw you in a trash can. I will, I used to do that.
But in person, that was a different story.
I mean, online, he would freaking, run his flap and post a lot, and respond to everything. But when you see him at the tournaments, he just sits there, he's not doing nothing.
That was Jaha, one of the more hot-headed players that was not
Jaha.
He was talking a bunch of shit against like the top Marvel players, so Shady K was one of them, and Shady K didn't like him too much because he would like run his mouth so much. I mean, this guy would make posts that were like a mile long. When DSP was leaving with like him and a couple of his boys, that's when it was time to like roll up on him. We followed him outside and we caught him outside, and they were getting up in like you know, DSP's fucking friends' faces too, just to fucking make sure none of them got crazy, but they were all fucking shitting bricks. He just turns fucking white, and it's funny because he just like talks so much shit on the internet. But when you run into
give me a
him in
warning
fucking
of his
person,
memory
he's
issue.
just fucking, you know,
I
turns white
haven't
as a
seen anything
ghost.
like that.
DSP was able to diffuse the situation by paying Shady K, Jaha's friend, $10. They arrived to that amount from a money match that was meant to go 10 rounds for a total of $100. But since it was cut short due to time limitations, and DSP only fought and lost a single match, Jaha and his crew were able to swindle those $10 that DSP had no obligation to pay. But even then, it was cheaper than a trip to the hospital. As for the forums, or the medium DSP would unleash his threats, Shoryuken.com, or SRK for short, is named after a popular move in Street Fighter. DSP continued to expand his character, adding the tagline, "The King of Hate."
And the whole
Nick,
idea
how's it
about my
going?
Hey moniker was everyone hates me because I talk so much shit online, but no one can do anything about it because in person I could hold up my end of the shit talking and win.
I understand that you got something you want to say about the DSP.
Nah, I don't got nothing to say about that little retard. Down syndrome Phil.
Now, in 2003, Phil's infamy grew to new heights after he was banned from the SRK forums. Even the smaller competitions he did win would not be received with commemoration, but ire. In addition to the displeasures at his victory was what appears to be Phil advertising his website known as tophaters.com. Further investigation reveals that this website of Phil's creation was a response to topplayers.com, a West Coast-centered Street Fighter website. Looking further into it, this is not just a response to top players, but Phil's lashing out at his infamy. There is much to unpack through the multiple pages of this website. On this page alone, he challenges some of the fighting game culture he himself is guilty of. On the main page, he informs readers that he works at Circuit City. On this thread, he is hating on the mechanics of Guilty Gear, a different fighting game. His words and his culture did not resonate within the fighting game community. Even so, he
pissed off
petitioned for financial
everyone.
support supposedly to run the website while also complaining about the lack of users. Despite a clear lack of support, Phil went onward with a new project known as Impact. As tophaters.com was Phil's answers to topplayers.com, Impact was Phil's answer to EVO. And even though Phil continued to attend, he sought to make his own large-scale event. Quote, "It's obvious that Impact is going to compete heavily with EVO," unquote. On the threads created by Phil to promote Impact that included
now Impact
fundraising,
doesn't
brainstorming
exist.
ideas, and other items meant to trigger discussion, on average would have at most a single other response. That was also the only
Womp
respondent
womp.
to the majority of Phil's posts. Even threads discussing how much Phil sucked garnered more attention on his website than Impact. TopHaters.com was a failed project. DSP now espoused to this negativity will not use his character to his benefit. Instead, he used it to attack beloved franchises like Counter-Strike and Warcraft 3. Even then, that was only a distraction from his assaults at fighting game culture. Here, he lambasted what was known in the fighting game community as combo videos. In the early days of the fighting game community, CDs were exchanged in person. These carried videos of various combos or tactics one could utilize, yet the existence of them were also controversial as groups could gatekeep the data. Now, with the internet in play and data shared at a faster pace, tactics and their discovery were virtually immediately adapted and the meta was becoming solidified. Even still, the combo video situation is more complex than just defining metas, as DSP points out. Quote, "In some cases, the combo videos are single character only or console only," unquote. The last bit is of utter importance. Now,
Console
mid-2004,
only,
arcades have long been losing their
Evo.
purpose to the increasingly popular home video game console and a switch of competitions. Prioritizing consoles could increase accessibility for players and allow for significantly cheaper and easier to manage components as consoles and their elements could be set up and altered with ease. This transition was controversial only for those brought up in arcade culture and those in competitive gaming communities. When a game, like Street Fighter for example, is ported from the superior hardware of an arcade cabinet to the limited or vastly different video game console, color, resolution, and most importantly mechanics could differ based on the port. And though the technology and quality control had improved, it was still not good enough. It was a jump that would eventually have to be made, but perhaps it was too soon.
Evolution console? It's my worst nightmare, dude. I'm an arcade player. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if this is the future, we're gonna have to, it's evolving, so we're gonna have to adapt. Personally, I don't like it, but, you know, no choice.
That was Alex Valle at EVO 2004, sharing what was the popular opinion among the top fighting game players. And to the displeasure of many, their worst nightmare would manifest in ways they could hardly predict. EVO 2005 would live in infamy for its decision to use the PlayStation port of Street Fighter II Turbo and the outcome of the matches. Both would receive
Number
protests
one
in one way or
American.
another.
In 2005, I think it was, the three of you were absent from ST Top 8. What happened that year?
When you play Bison and you hit a Fierce Flame and it only goes like 20% of the screen, you got a problem with the game. And you got some idiot named DSP who's a total piece of shit, by the way. I like to get that on YouTube. But this guy thought he was hot shit because he beat me and Choi in a game that was like, it's like fucking Neo Geo conversion of Street Fighter or some crap.
First of all, I have to bring this up. Alex Valle did not enter this tournament. He claimed he was busy and he couldn't show up. Bullshit. He was like, oh, I'm protesting EVO because they're not holding Arcade Super Turbo. I don't want to enter or whatever, right? Yet he was still there, but he didn't enter. He did not enter the tournament. I'm going to name some names now, people who I played and beat that day in Super Turbo for the PS1 that you might be like, what the fuck? Jason Wilson, Mike Watson. Pretty sure I played John Choi and I beat him too.
DSP at EVO 2005 surged in the ranks for Street Fighter II Turbo, a feat that was achieved through a superior knowledge of the game.
During that period of time, I learned some major differences about the game, including the fact that some characters were different sizes. They weren't as tall or short as they were supposed to be, and they had different hitboxes. I found out certain characters did different stun amounts than they did in Arcade Super Turbo. I found out that one of my characters, Vega, was incredibly easy to do these complex combos with, which actually was harder to do in the arcade version of the game.
The beauty of Phil's achievement, and now beating all of his American opponents in EVO 2005, is that he totes his knowledge as a fair advantage. But when he goes up against the Japanese players who also dedicated dedicate themselves to the port without
And kick
protest,
his
he
ass.
changes his tone.
So now I was in the position, boom, if I win like 1 to 2 more matches, I could win the whole event. And then my final match in the tournament was against Tokido, who picked a mirror. We did a mirror match of Vega. And he knew a few things about Vega that I didn't about the mirror match. And just because he knew those few things, he got the jump on me. And I remember distinctly making 1 to 2 major blunders that people were like, why did he do that? I don't know. You know, I was on the stage, I was playing in front of 1,000 or 2 people, and I was, I fucked up, I admit. He beat me. And so what ended up happening, I got 4th place. The top 3 places were all Japanese players.
DSP had ranked 4 at EVO 2005 for Street Fighter II Turbo, and
Alright,
used
finally
these
we caught up.
statistics to state that he was the top American player. The more he would promote this, the more he'll be scrutinized for the details around his victory. What's more, the details about his life outside of the fighting game community were less savory.
I had to leave that other job, and as I told you, to go to EVO 2005, I had racked up my credit card bills like sky high. I owed a ton of credit card debt.
Womp
With
womp.
more debt accrued, Phil moved back in with his parents and was working a job at Best Buy. Here, he was living off the high
Best
of his
Buy.
new title. Perhaps unrecognized and unvaluable to the population at large, that was not the case for his local competitive environment that were in awe of Phil's achievement.
One day, my friend Tony, who mostly we were known for playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Capcom vs. SNK 2 together, said, hey, I got a couple buddies who
That's
actually like
amazing,
Super Turbo,
disgruntled.
and obviously that's the game you're really good at.
Making everything
We
mixed
wanted to
together
work
like
with them.
that.
And this is the first time I ever met John Rambo. So this is probably between like 2005, 2006, I would guess. When I first met him, I felt like it was almost like a deer in headlights moment. Like, oh my God, this is a guy who just came back from EVO and placed.
John Rambo, coincidentally sharing the name of the action movie character, was becoming DSP's best friend. They shared an expansive list of friends as DSP continued to be revered in his local competitive environment. He was even allowed back on SRK and was helping run regional competitions. As now patterned, his investments into the fighting game community continued to hurt his finances. He was even fired from his job at Best Buy for using an employee discount to purchase equipment that would be used at East Coast Championships
Yes, and
2006.
got him fired.
Now on unemployment, DSP's financial decisions became ever more reckless.
For 2006 and 2007, I started traveling the country, playing in all what was considered qualifying tournaments for EVO, which was the big national finale. Think like there's qualifying games in any sport, and then there's the big finals, right? As I started attending all these qualifier tournaments, I was winning them.
This is true, and this is footage of his victory at EVO East 2006.
Beat him up.
As neat as these victories were, traveling across the country when he already secured a high position in EVO meant that he was effectively wasting his money, as having more than one seat was pointless.
Wow, Phil is now seeded to be in the finals at EVO like 7 times. We need to actually take people who he beat and put them into the spots, because we can't have a whole bracket that's just Phil playing.
These victories inflated his ego beyond measure and created
And cost him
an
a
even
fuck
more
ton of
aggressive
credit card
Phil.
debt.
First of all,
Don't forget that
you are
part.
fucking
Credit card debt.
Because you have no problem. You have no problem talking about my shit.
I'm gonna whoop your fucking ass.
Oh, really? You gonna whoop my fucking ass? Oh, I want to see that shit.
DSP continued to seek out a physical altercation, and in most cases, it led to nothing. Other times, he miscalculated and threatened someone who could reciprocate threats, reinforced by
Like
real
Jaha.
experience. Viscount, a veteran of the fighting game community, was lambasted by DSP. Quote, so first Phil was like, okay, well you have to sign some document because if I kill you, I don't want to be responsible. And I was like, whatever. Then there was an actual serious negotiation over who the ref was going to be. And I think we settled on Walter from Connecticut, but I don't remember this part either. Then there was an honest-to-God negotiation over weight and that we were going to have to weigh in and everything. Again, I'm not making any of this up. As dumb as this sounds, this absolutely happened. So one day Phil IMs me on AIM and tries to back out. He was like, hey, so how about this? How about we pretend like we're going to fight, and then
Sam
when
just
a whole
mentioned this. He
crowd
knows
is
the
around
DX
us, we
crash
both
shots, but he
do
didn't watch
DX
Attitude,
shots
really?
to the crowd. It'll be such a goof. This really happened, and I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? I honestly couldn't believe he was pulling this, and I was still mad about the whole thing and actually wanted to fight him. From that point on, there never really was any problem between him and I, unquote. When it came to real fights, backing out was typical of Phil. But when it came to Street Fighter, he was more confident than he'd ever been.
All right, we got the man of all hate, the one and only DSP. I call him Phil, because Phil's cool. Anyhow, Phil, how you feel about ST?
I mean, for years, these same guys are on top. And yes, I'm talking about John Choi, I'm talking about Alex Valle. Playing ST, placing, okay, they're good. But to disrespect the people that got top 8 at Evolution, to make excuses because it's on console, it's ridiculous.
There you go. You heard it from DSP. Straight from DSP. DSP, thank you.
Yeah.
Take this, bitch.
Hate that.
Could Phil really back up these claims, or on the other side,
It's amazing
could
to see
Valle
old
beat
Phil.
Alex Valle, this guy right here, living legend, Street Fighter scene. First and foremost, you know what I gotta ask you? The ST beef with DSP.
I don't even consider it a beef. It's like another scrub, another day.
As chance would have it, they actually did compete at EVO 2006.
First match finally. Oh, on stage, Phil versus Alex Valle. I'm like, oh great. It was a decent match, I lost. And I was like, motherfucker, you know, all this practice, I waited all day, basically it mind-fucked me waiting all day to play my match. I finally play Alex Valle and I lose.
Phil, now in the loser's bracket, still had a chance to redeem himself. And after working his way through the loser's bracket, he had his final match of the day.
My final match is against, guess who? Tokido. Now this is the guy who beat me in 2005 on stage mirror match with Vega.
The results of Tokido and DSP's first 2 matches played out exactly like they did in EVO 2005. Both players won a single match, and it came down to the last match where the results were also mirrored.
And he won. He knocked me down, and I fucking lost. And I was like, I wanted to rip my fucking shirt off like Hulk Hogan and be like, fuck this shit.
DSP did not even place in the top 8. He was now the former top American player, but if anything, he was still persistent. In 2007, he went at it again, also winning EVO East. Even though, with his victory, DSP qualified to be seated higher at EVO, he still attended EVO West, which was held at Comic-Con.
Which makes no sense that he spent this much money going to EVO West when he already won EVO East, so he was already in.
David Sterling, 1 match. DSP, 1 match.
There was an EVO West in San Diego, and fucking DSP was fucking talking shit about Mike Watson, and that's my road dog. When we fucking ran him down in EVO West, you know, we didn't even fucking wait to get outside. Watson just fucking went up to him in the arcade hall and just told him, dude, why the fuck you talking shit, this and that, blah blah blah. And he just didn't even want to face this. Like, he just kept on like cowering away and looking away and just being fucking quiet, this and that, and just fucking scared shitless. And we're fucking following him around, dude, like, what the fuck's your problem? And you know, Watson is a forgiving guy, so he just fucking pretty much got to the point where he made him apologize.
I said, you got to do what you got to do. If you feel like you're going to make you feel better to hit me, then go ahead. I guess I deserve it.
You would have called him a ball and cried like a little bitch.
I don't understand then. Why did you say those things? And I was like, dude, I'm an alcoholic. I admitted it to him right there. I was like, I'm an alcoholic. I drink too much all the time, and I just can't control myself when I do it.
Now he just drinks on stream,
at that point,
guys.
I actually started crying because I felt so bad about everything that I had done and how stupid I was as a person.
Rumor of what took place at this event would spread within the fighting game community.
Do you guys remember the whole thing with DSP and like with the West Coast people where they almost like he was like really scared because he was about to get beat up? I heard he was like crying and everything, so that was pretty funny.
DSP had fulfilled his role as a heel by losing to players who were far more popular than he was. He again, for Evil Actual, did not even place in the top 8. Even if he won such events, the prize money would do little to counter the credit card debt that he had accrued. His new job was not doing much to help him either.
Then I ended up finally getting a job after the Best Buy debacle at a place called Helicopter Support Incorporated. This was also in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Actually, I take that back. I think Helicopter Support was just over the Trumbull line.
This is a strange leap from working at Best Buy to working as medium in helicopter parts selection. His degree that he had recently gotten was supposedly in business. So DSP's work experience, nor his educational background, was related to his current position. The only thing that was his father, who had been working at the company, and it is understood that DSP secured his position due to nepotism. There was an additional development that DSP would long cling to. He was now starting a perilous path, ones that machinations would be far more complex than he could ever predict or even understand. Yet he stood directly in the center to witness it all.
So basically, I was very nervous. We went to this Chinese restaurant, and I swear to you, the first fortune that I got, well, my fortune that I got that they said, financial hardship in your life is coming to an end. By the way, when I do record gameplay, I use a digital camera.
Way to lie to him, guys.
Just gonna post them as is with a 10-minute mark?
Why would I edit? It took 2 days, actually, off of work just to play Batman Arkham Asylum. Because I knew it was going to be great, and you know what? I don't regret it at all. Even though
I'm the fucking Batman!
The Dark Side Phil YouTube channel was created on March 3rd, 2007, but was not utilized until 2008. Phil began by recording some of the fighting game events he would enter. The earliest available video is Midwest Moment 4 Day 1 Setup. The next one is Moment 7, then 13, then 19. Though all these videos range from 13 seconds to 2 minutes and 16 seconds, the jumping of the numerical order means that several videos were deleted and various pre-existing videos are lost. This was not the only event he recorded in 2008, and alongside those videos, DSP began recording gameplay of various genres. The quality as such reflected the best his equipment would allow, as he positioned his camera initially on the floor and pointed it towards his television. DSP recorded Star Wars The Force Unleashed,
at least I got all this fucking high-definition ear detail.
Castle Crashers,
It's a bunch of fucking horse shit, to be honest.
and Mercenaries 2.
Another Grand Theft Auto 4 rip-off mission.
While the genres varied, the style of recording, the commentary, and the titling, in that he proclaimed the game sucked, provided some theming in a space that lacked cohesion. YouTube, as it was looked at as a video repository, a place to consume viral videos. Series and the like were virtually non-existent. There was no meta for videos and not much of a reason to make them, considering that a paycheck through content creation was unheard of. In such an uncompetitive and themeless space, Phil's videos excelled. He quickly found out that his gameplay videos did better than his recordings of fighting game events. Then found out that if he recorded proper sequences of walkthroughs of missions and games, the chain of videos garnered even more views, as was demonstrated by his gameplay of Saints Row 2. These were uploaded out of sequence, as Phil relied on a unique method of recording. Instead of recording the entirety of his gameplay in one go that would create a single video file to chop into several parts, Phil subverted the need to edit his videos down below the required 10-minute mark that YouTube had by physically stopping the recording on his camera every couple minutes.
Oh my god, this is bullshit. Ugh. Okay, Saints Row 2, trying to kill the general again.
This naturally created individual files that not only saved him time on the editing process, but the rendering as well. From here, he could upload the files directly. The only additional effort applied left was to name the videos. Though Phil, in late 2008, did commit himself to recording entire playthroughs of games full with his commentary, the sequence was still scrambled and parts were uploaded out of order. But by the time he began his Fallout 3 series, now adopting his role of what would be known as a Let's Player, he was finally correcting these errors and uploading a sequence. Then the issue was not the sequence, but how much he was uploading. If he did a 4-hour recording session, that amounted to 25 videos, and those 25 videos were uploaded from November 28th to November 29th. That was 25 uploads in just 2 days. Phil, with some fluctuation, was spamming his uploads. By December 19th, even with his job in mind, he was up to part 137 of the Fallout Let's Play series. That was only a fraction of his 749 videos. This means Phil, at 1,400 subscribers, averaged around 2 subscribers per video. The comments were quite vocal with their exhaustion of the spam. Quote, "Stop spamming videos, they are not that good." Unquote. Some comments seem to just target Phil as a person. Quote, "Fucking you. You are a stupid man. Suck my lick." Unquote. Phil's commentary was colorful and could prompt these responses.
Oh, look. Blah, blah, blah. You cannot speak the English, you stupid. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Time for
Wow. Viewers were not sure if DSP's crudeness was him playing a character, though the Street Fighter community knew it wasn't.
DSP, stop recording. No one gives a shit. Play. You can't hold up a tournament.
Where am I playing? You still haven't told me. Jesus Christ, man. You want me to run the fucking tournament for you?
Taking form now in early 2009
Yeah, it's so
was the
classic video.
basis of DSP. All the core elements were finally present, including the audience. From those few who were vocal about their dislike of DSP, DSP responded by comparing himself to Satan, and those who enjoyed his videos enough to donate to him. As seen in his description, he was now accepting PayPal donations for what he claims were games and equipment.
Womp
Even
womp.
now, in the channel comments, people were suggesting the use of direct capture via what is known as a capture card, and DSP did indeed spend that money. A lot of it too, on a more expensive, yet worse option.
Better camera, dude.
You know, any donations that you send help me to in the cost of games and equipment, especially this brand new HD camera. It costs
Oh,
me
he's gonna
pretty,
fall from that high
pretty
horse
hefty
eventually.
sum, so.
As these suggestions to how he could improve his videos poured in, Phil would go on and pour them out.
This guy just wants to be my friend so he gets deleted. Why don't you use capture card instead of camera? I've already explained this 7,000 fucking times. It's because then I'd have to actually use a professional microphone. I'd have to record the voiceovers. I'd have to actually do video editing on every fucking video that I put up. Considering I put up like 30 a fucking day, unless you want to fucking stay home and do that while I'm at work, I don't think that's gonna happen. So shut your fucking face.
That, as would be understood, was DSP's long-winded way of saying it was because he did not want to put forth the effort to learn the technology, making it seem over-complex to an audience that knew very little about video creation. From here on, he would label his videos as
That's out of
HD,
context,
inherent
guys.
from the camera,
That's
and
the
not
old
the game,
me.
as people would be actually searching for. It is difficult to say how much DSP was making from these donations, but he was earning something and realized he could be making even more. Not from gameplay, as YouTube was afraid to monetize such content in fear that the copyright strikes from the game companies would doom the platform, but from vlogs, as YouTube recognized it was all original footage. This new channel, once more promoting his new camera's abilities, going as the king of hate HD, shined a light on DSP's previously private life. There were videos of him making custom controllers with John Rambo and friends, sometimes videos of DSP and friends at a cookout, and sometimes the different competitions he would attend and not perform well in. It was clear that DSP had a vibrant social life.
We got this list to
DSP
go
was
through.
attending midnight releases, freely interacting with strangers, and now, because his vlogging channel was successfully accepted into the YouTube Partner Program, where he pressed what he assumed to be the advantage.
Hello, what's going on? My name is Phil Burnell, but more commonly known as Darkside Phil, or DSP for short on the internet, and in 2010 my channel actually ended up being in the top 30 most viewed comedians of all time on YouTube, and actually had over 100 million total channel views.
Damn.
At this point I started getting noticed by different companies, such as Machinima and other people contacting me, and at that point I really wasn't too interested in doing anything with it. I wasn't really sure, you know, that it would ever translate into anything serious for me, or any kind of a monetary gain for me.
Combined with the money from his traditional job, he moved out of his parents' house into his own condo that he purchased for $131,000, leading him to be a host for such events such as a pizza/gameplay party.
Yeah. What better to eat right before a Ninja Turtles playthrough than a delicious, ginormous pizza? So why don't you stop playing Street Fighter 4 and come get pizza so we can play Turtles? John Rambo here, devouring his final slice.
Hell, bugger, you fuckers.
As controversial as Phil had become in the real world, and was well on the way in the online space, he was leading a fuller life. He was even experimenting
He
with
had
edited
friends and
videos,
everything.
like his multi-part Game Awards series.
It's DSP's Game of the Year Awards 2009 Top
He had
10
friends,
Best Games of the
guys.
Year.
Not everything operated well in DSP's life. He was still heavily drinking even during Let's Plays.
Follow me, Red. Don't attack those fucking rad scorpions, just follow me. What? Red has died. She didn't even get fucking hit. Now she's dead. What the fuck?
As was normal, DSP fumbled through gameplay, regularly blaming the game for his shortcomings. Alcohol only amplified this.
We may not look it, but every one of us is a trained... They both come in here.
Wow, this is amazing gameplay.
What the fuck you doing?
A viewer may have missed it as Phil did through his rapid selection of the dialogue for the sake of progression. Phil unwittingly chose the option to threaten the NPC.
Dumbass.
Why the fuck are they attacking me? I don't get it. Why are they attacking me?
He is so fucking drunk.
I didn't want to kill them. Why did they attack me?
There was a grotesque nature to Phil's Let's Plays and a rage that would turn physical.
My Xbox locked up. Fucking does. Fuck, you're doing it. Standing fucking roundhouse. Ah, shit, fuck. It always fucking doesn't hitting me.
A part of a successful creator is willingness to experiment, adapt, and improve. DSP had those elements, except he was so set in his immediate success, he disregarded improvement to increase what worked in excess. By early 2010, his Let's Plays and number of total videos soared. In just a little over a year, he had nearly 7,000 uploads on his main channel, with his total views at a gargantuan 70 million. That means he was averaging 10,000 views a video. And not in the least humble about these statistics. Quote, I've been called fat, ignorant, stupid, scrub, loud, obnoxious, disrespectful, belligerent, inciting troll, asshole, worthless, but I've also been called entertaining by 70 million people. You be the judge. I'll be banned by the time you read this. Unquote. This could be found on SRK, and if even possible, further soured Phil's image in the rest of the Street Fighter community.
Look at him now. I mean, he's just... 20,000 idiots are subscribed to him. That's great. Congratulations. Congratulations with your YouTube channel, and hope you enjoy your life, bro. I mean,
he does not enjoy his life.
Great victory.
Spoiler, doesn't enjoy
Turbo
it.
Champion. You, take that to your grave, bro. Good luck.
DSP was making enemies that he had never met. In 2009, he had a small run-in with Rockstar and Take-Two that took down 2 of his videos, as was commonplace, as all of Phil's videos ran the risk of scrutiny by these companies.
However, Take-Two took it upon themselves to actually put a cease and desist order against YouTube, stating that they were not allowed to put up any of my gameplay footage, in particular because I had the cutscenes of the game in my footage.
And then, in 2010, what appeared to be Ubisoft also struck Phil's channel to a severe degree. By April, the strikes continued at such a pace that his main channel, Darkside Phil, was taken down. After sharing the news, it came out that the strikes were illegitimate and were possibly sent out by a disgruntled viewer. With the strikes resolved and the channel restored, Phil saw it fit to celebrate his channel's resurrection.
Ah, Crash Metal Fiend! Holla holla!
That's right. That's right. They tried.
Fuck up, DSP. DSP needs to spend a mini fortune on vices to get a dopamine hit. I get my dopamine from losing 30 pounds in 4 months and smashing new weightlifting records. I'm almost 37 and the best shape of my life. Good for you, man. Keep hitting those goals and break them even more.
To take me down. They tried to get me off YouTube. They tried to shut me up. Fuck those motherfuckers. The king is back. That's right. As you can see, thank God, my channel, Darkside Phil, has been restored on YouTube. So, awesome.
This tactic would also become commonplace against Phil. As a response to the initial takedown, DSP made 2 additional channels, one for Street Fighter that was soon abandoned, and another for gaming going as DSP Gaming. This channel, for all intents and purposes, adopted the role of his main channel and would remain as such for the foreseeable future. At the time, as a host to gameplay videos, the channel's true purpose was to bring attention towards his vlogging channel, as that channel was monetized.
What am I going to do? I'm going to whip up
Just like DSP smashes a bottle of Tanqueray.
Express mode bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches, which include 6 pieces
Poorly cooking with the king.
white bread.
This new series, beginning in September of 2010, was going under Poorly Cooking with the King. These videos were much more intimate than his gaming videos or even vlogs, for reasons not known then, but are now.
Back then, I started Cooking with the King as a way to branch out and to have additional content on that channel. I think that that series ran its course to the point where I literally probably cooked every single meal I could possibly make without looking like an idiot or using a cookbook. And the point is, the series was me showing you things that I cook, not me cooking out of a cookbook.
Phil was increasingly monetizing different aspects of his life, and as he stated, Poorly Cooking with the King were the recipes he knew how to make, meaning this is what Phil made regularly.
So what am I going to make? Today I'm going to make scrambled eggs, and I'm also going to make some sausage. So I'm going to whip together some burgers, the eggs, and the cheese. That's pretty much 3 basic ingredients, but you can add other things to this dish. Although in this episode, we're actually going to go a little bit more healthy than some of my previous recipes, simply because a lot of people have been complaining, and I guess it's time to show that I don't only eat, you know, things that might be high in fat or high in cholesterol. For every 6 ounces of tuna, you should use a half a cup of mayonnaise and or Miracle Whip.
Those were the following 4 poorly cooking with the king videos. Besides Phil's poor diet that would impact his life in somewhat ironic ways, viewers were exposed to cooking mishaps that were perplexing.
Safest thing to do with bacon grease. Oh yeah!
Why?
Hot fucking potatoes.
Scrutinous viewers could look at the clock in the stove frame, the layout of his house, etc. As for the rest of his videos, they were performing well, even if he did have a few hiccups or angry neighbors telling him to shut up along the way. If this was the only trouble DSP received, the rest of 2010 would have gone more smoothly. The key change that destabilized his world was him getting fired from his job.
And what happened in this case, they did a reorg where they took me out
Come on,
of this
have the
department
click the
where I was
ads
doing
video.
all this great work, and they put me in a completely different department. The management there didn't give a fuck about me, and after 3 months they laid me off.
Now, with more incentive to monetize his life, Phil launched a new series known as DSP Tries It.
Because fast food, I'm going to be telling you right now, when I do these for fast food, they're always going to have a low rating, because fast food usually is pretty bad. It's an odd combination of flavors, because the egg and all the meat are extremely salty.
This series was initially food-based. Then he began reviewing his own merchandise.
There's a bunch of different designs that you can get.
Then joysticks.
This joystick uses all Sanwa parts.
This series had now evolved within the first 21 episodes to a general product review show.
DSP tries it.
This is DSP, and I'm using the new Axe body... That's not it. What the hell's that shit? I'm using the new Axe body detailer. I use the detail inside to watch out. Oh my god!
No one needed to see this.
For a period, DSP discontinued this series and later stopped posting on the King of Hate HD altogether. DSP's fans were aware that he lost his job, and so a fan contacted Phil and offered to make him his own website, as was customary for various creators that found themselves unsecure in YouTube survivability. And so, by October, thekingofhate.com was up and running. Mainly used as a fan site, this website was fully equipped with forums and not a host of actual videos. Fan input and support was at an all-time high. That's why in November, he made an exorbitant amount of money.
That first month, I made $18,000.
Where did the money go?
In December, Phil made another $13,000, though it is unclear if YouTube actually paid it out. Regardless, if what Phil says is true about him making around $200 on average in the prior months, then he was now making 100 times more. This was unsustainable.
Mid-December, I get a message from YouTube. Dear Mr. Burnell, we have detected invalid clicking activity on your videos. Therefore, as a result of said activity, we are suspending. We're not turning off. We're not completely removing. We are suspending your AdSense account.
Phil claims that this increase in click activity was due to viewers feeling bad for him, not considering that the average person
Show the
does not
video!
know how YouTubers make their money. This was mysterious by intention, done to avoid users clicking on ads for the sake of helping out their favorite creator. And if viewer support via DSP's instruction could staunch his income, what could viewer hostility do?
This. I said, YouTube, with their AdSense program, literally tell everyone, don't talk to your fans about it. Don't tell them how AdSense works, because then you would incentivize them to do stuff and commit fraud. Basically, how much you guys participate with this
There
show,
it is.
You know what I mean. I'm not allowed to come out and just say, you know, how you can do that, but anyone
There it is. Thank you.
How the partner channels work, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. That's where the fun comes from. So I just want to say thanks a lot to everyone. I hope to entertain you in the future. Please go to my partner channel, The King of Hate HD, and click on the ads that show up on the videos.
DSP Cult Leader was a channel that represented a growing disdain for DSP. This channel was falling under the umbrella of detractor content, or those that at this moment believed DSP was not exactly truthful or transparent with his intentions. In late December of 2010, this channel was releasing various videos showing contradictions in DSP's words, like the reason he was suspended from the AdSense program, or just items that the uploader personally disagreed with. Additionally, though Phil positioned himself as tight with money, he was still able to purchase a few high-end collectibles here and there.
Yes,
the amount of statues and figurines were noticeably increasing. Perhaps it was because he felt secure, not in YouTube, but in Blip.tv. This was a website that was trying to compete with YouTube and was on the lookout for talent. DSP, a very large channel, was welcomed with open arms, and soon after joining was the second largest channel on Blip.tv, and was on an exclusive, superior contract. Here, he uploaded gameplay and vlogging videos alike, while still uploading videos to YouTube as a fallback.
Yes, Blip
That's how
TV
DSP
for the win.
entered 2011. His attention split between two competing websites. In January, a demo for the upcoming highly anticipated game, Dead Space 2, was released to help build
How's
up
everybody
hype.
doing? Hopefully
DSP
everyone's enjoying
was among
this.
those that downloaded it and among the few to record it.
Oh, he sounds fun.
Then, he was the sole creator that made the most controversial video that was not even related to the already controversial gameplay.
That's what happens with a lot of Jews in skating space.
This is what happens when you let the Jews do whatever they want. You've let the Jews overrun space, and now look at this. Their greed has had the artifact turn everyone into necromorphs. So now I, the last remaining Nazi, must exterminate them. Hello, Jew.
Phil, reported as the last surviving space Nazi, did not translate well to his audience that quickly reported his anti-Semitic jokes. Unlike YouTube, Blip.tv sought to purge Phil and banned him from the platform. He was also, in essence, blacklisted from working with any existing creators on Blip. So for the third time in just 3 months, Phil had to restructure his job and figure out how to make money again.
You know, Hutch, sorry, but obviously you've proven that you can't be mature about it. I sure as hell didn't go to your page to try to fucking flame your fans, so enjoy your block. You're no longer allowed to talk on any of my fucking videos. And then here we go.
Man, he's slurring
look,
his words right now.
And he sends me this giant fucking message. I told you I was done. You don't listen, so you're blocked. I don't ever want to hear from you again.
Hutch, a gaming creator who worked for Machinima and held a lot of influence with the
Machinima.
multi-channel network, had changed tones with DSP. Feeling sympathetic, and after a short back and forth through email, Hutch was able to pull some strings and get his channel partnered again. Not with YouTube directly, but through Machinima as the third party, therefore circumventing Phil's own suspended AdSense account. This was an increasing strategy where YouTube could negate its copyright fears by placing the responsibility on multi-channel networks like Machinima. In turn, they would be rewarded by reaping a portion of the ad revenue. So for the first time ever on YouTube, all of Phil's content could be monetized. In the background, there was one issue, or faction, Phil could not shake. Not even a day after getting partnered with Machinima, the prominent detractor channel, DSP Cult Leader, uploaded a video from the year prior where Phil denounced Machinima.
You know, they're nice enough to go on my partner channel and watch those videos and click the ads and things like that, so all I have to really say is fuck you, Machinima.
Mostly unfazed by these counter-narratives, Phil continued to upload copious amounts of now monetized content with newfound confidence.
Yeah, if you can believe it, I'm living the dream, and you can only go up from here.
Can only go up from
For a
here,
while,
guys.
this was the case. In May of 2011, he had a $1,600 computer built by the same fans that created and were running his website. Phil was still going to fighting game events, though not as frequently, and if not clear already, he was making a decent amount of money. In the course of 8 months, Phil was cluttering all facets of his condo with collectibles or equally unessential items. His 2011 condo tour showcased how much his apartment had changed. On the walls, counters, even the floor, it was difficult to find a square foot of clear space. There was even an entire corner of his condo solely dedicated to the boxes of the items he had purchased. The density of items took space. Not just physical space, but also with the condo tour runtime that by part 3 saw Phil categorizing just segments of his small condo as to speed up the pace of the video. The first 3 parts had reached a total runtime of over 30 minutes, and this was hardly everything. Phil had covered the open space, or lack thereof, between his kitchen and living room. Left to review, besides the bathroom, was his bedroom that was similarly decorated with gamer memorabilia and other items Phil took interest in.
And now he's broke. He has no
Artwork
money.
is actually painted completely with her breasts, and it's custom artwork that she makes. And she does all kinds of different paintings and such. And I was actually thinking, this is so nice, it's so artistic looking, that if I do get an office next year, like I had talked about doing, that I may actually commission her to do a couple more paintings for the office. I thought that would be pretty cool.
On that note, the only thing preventing Phil from stockpiling more was lack of space, which he sought to remedy.
If I get more artwork, where's it really going to go? There's only a couple spots left that I've been looking, like a couple spots in the bedroom or whatever, but at this... Wow, at this point, it's pretty much all filled up. What I'd like to do is get the hell out of here and get us, like I said, get an office where I can do a lot of my filming, where I can do my uploading, and not have to worry about my modem going down here, having a business class internet, having a place where I could do better filming, and I sure as hell, I'm not sure that that's ever going to happen.
As much as he collected, there was a space he felt was consistently vacant. He was lacking a significant other. Quote, now, my favorite part of the story. My sweet waffle Philip. I met him in November 2011 online, YouTube actually, while he was and currently is making video game playthroughs. We're still going strong despite some hurdles. The biggest one is other people. We are a May-December romance. He is 11 years older, but it makes our bonds even stronger. He is so supportive of my crafty ways, even if he doesn't understand half of it. We're even planning and taking steps to opening our own online bath beauty business. But moving in together comes first, because he lives in Connecticut. Told you we have hurdles, but that's all for now. I'm sure everyone will get to know me well soon enough. I can't wait to learn and share and confide in what seems like such great people. Smiley face. Unquote. That was from a future post created by Leanna, or Panda Lee as she was going as online. Leanna met Phil through the now defunct YouTube message system as a fan, only for Phil to escalate the relationship by providing her with his more private email. By February of 2012, they had become a couple, and Phil saw fit to introduce her to his audience on Valentine's Day.
Hello everyone, Darkside Phil here, and with me today is my beautiful girlfriend, Leanna, who also is known as Panda Lee on
She is not Asian.
Quote, a special note, Panda Lee is not Asian. That is all, unquote. This was an annotation found on the video. A request likely by Panda Lee
way later,
to avoid
dude.
confusion of her race. It is likely her because she also made sure to clear this up in an interview held through a Twisted Metal lobby.
Some guy on the reveal video commented that I look like an old Asian woman, so...
Yeah, they're all immature. Don't pay attention to DSP fans. They're fucking idiots. A lot of them are fucking idiots.
If they ever need a really awkward Asian-looking non-Asian chick...
Yeah, I guess so. So what are your favorite games?
I just want to know how many Asians have green eyes. That's what I want to know. I've never met an Asian with green eyes.
Neither have I. So,
yeah, I have green eyes. Very rare, so...
What games
figured that would give away that I'm not Asian.
While Panda Lee was trying to convince Phil's audience that she is not Asian, Phil's audience was more curious about the 11-year age gap. With Phil being 29 years old and Panda Lee being 18, rumors spread that they began dating when she was underage, but these are unsubstantiated and no evidence of such has ever been brought forward. That cannot be said about the rest of the criticisms surrounding Panda Lee, which there are many of.
Okay, so a word to the wise, do not fucking get an apartment, like, ever. Just don't. I don't care what neighborhood you live in. It can be as white as anything. Don't fucking get an apartment, because you know why? You know why it's a white neighborhood? Because the white people live in the houses around it. The police is here. Yep, I called the police. You know why? Because 3 buildings away, I had all these windows and doors closed, but I could hear this Latin CD perfectly that if I knew Spanish enough, I could probably translate it for you.
Panda Lee would
I did not know
sometimes
that
do
about her.
playthroughs
Holy
with
shit.
DSP and John Rambo. Still, DSP's best friend had a large catalog of playthroughs with Phil and was a favorite of the channel. Panda Lee, being a newcomer and with her being argumentative with Rambo, meant she was making a bad impression.
I was just being difficult.
Wow, some classic
Panda
footage.
Lee was a fair match for Phil because she had similar reasoning and an argumentative personality that Phil often portrayed in his videos. As for his videos, DSP peaked in late 2011. Now, 2012,
Then it
the
all fell
trend was
apart.
downward, and instead of getting a capture card to improve the quality of his videos, he sought experimentation elsewhere.
Project 7!
Project 7 was Phil and Friends' answer to the higher quality of videos found on YouTube. A summary of the plot is that Phil's gaming talent was stolen and that he has to travel through 7 gaming worlds to find and reclaim it. The stars were Phil, his best friend John Rambo, and their mutual friend Howard, which Phil claims was more so just John Rambo's friend. In charge of the editing, which was the heavy lifting, was more friends of John Rambo known by their channel Respect the Pact. They offered their assistance with the project for the sole purpose of a shoutout, which they hope will launch their YouTube career.
Hello.
And it did not,
I'm John,
unfortunately.
and I'm joined by Howard. Woohoo! So Project 7 was a lot of work for them. I don't think it was much work for us, despite what Phil would have talked about how hard the day was. It's such a
No,
long
it wasn't.
day.
It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard for us. It was hard for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was one day of filming.
Yeah.
Maybe 7 hours.
Respect the Pact put in a tremendous amount of work to edit the project that only made it to episode 4 because one of the members had a child on the way and the shoutouts that they got from the project did virtually nothing for their own personal channel. There was also the fact that Project 7 was practically a failure. The entire 4 episodes, when adding up the views, did not even surpass 1 million. It was far more lucrative for DSP to continue pumping out low-quality, effortless gameplay videos that he had even gotten a raise for mid-2012. Not only was he getting a set $2 per 1,000 views, sometimes he will get a bonus simply because of the size of his channel. The rest of the crew still desired to continue making these, and John Rambo put forth the idea that if DSP offered Respect the Pact money, then they would have a reason to stay.
Then you have a number, and then split it the 5 ways, and throw them the cash, and offer that to them. There's no guarantee that they're gonna continue with the series, but hey man, at least try.
Phil did not do so. He even lied to John Rambo and Howard and said that he did offer them money, only for them to ask Respect the Pact themselves.
His response: they don't want money. They don't want any money after this. Based on what he says, they told him that.
Yeah. And then I asked them about it, and they said he didn't even talk to them.
Phil was bold-faced lying to his 2 friends. This was already on top of other compounding, smaller problems, like Phil's jealousy of larger content creators and how he would lash out, creating unwanted attention towards his channel or just himself. Comments would also sometimes spark jealousy of his friends and would create a response from Phil.
Case in point, in this teaser trailer, there's a funny scene featuring John Rambo, and everyone says it's the best part of the trailer. And I even saw a comment saying, "Wow, this is Rambo's the funniest thing." Guess what? I wrote that scene.
These small, inconsequential things would add up slowly and drive a rift between DSP and John Rambo. Like when DSP lied about John Rambo not wanting to play Mario Party.
I say we're getting close to 2016.
People are pissy. Oh, it's not mature enough for you, you big-nosed piece of shit.
Everything eventually circles back. Phil at first would pay John Rambo 50% of all the earnings in the Let's Plays he was involved in, but as it becomes more difficult to calculate their earnings with DSP's expansive catalog of videos, instead he would just toss him $100 every time he visited. But also, virtually every time he did visit, DSP would move things towards wanting to record more Let's Plays rather than hang out outside the realm of YouTube. This all relates to the 2012 condo. From these repeat visits, John and Howard noticed many changes that really just amounted to additions,
and the BMW.
like the leased BMW.
We start showing up to your house, and what do we see? The guy starts buying figurines, starts buying all this ridiculous shit that there's no need to buy. Then we show up to his house one day, and what does he have in the fucking driveway? A BMW. So how the fuck do you think I feel, and how do you think these guys feel after the fact?
DSP was spending ever more frivolously. In contrast to his 2011 40-minute condo tour, this new condo tour took a total of 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 27 seconds.
Fuck.
On the surfaces of his apartments, sans some of the walls and ceilings, it became a challenge to now find a square inch of clear space. There was even an update on the corner, now wall full of boxes and trash.
It's now quickly become a graveyard of shit that I have nowhere to put, I have no use for, I can't store, I don't know what to do with it, alright?
DSP had run out of storage for his baubles and memorabilia.
I don't know, it's too much! Too much! And the problem is I have nowhere to put this shit. If I had somewhere to put it or sort it, I'd probably be able to see it, but it's all just a jumbled mess on top of my dresser. I need more room.
His closet, even with items optimally stored, was overfilled.
What I want to look at is just to show you what a mess the inside of my fucking closet is.
Fucking
I'm not
hell.
because my luggage is actually spilling out, but look at all the boxes I've got from the models.
Phil did not value or understand money, except when it came to others. Phil, when talking about Project 7, classifies it as a financial loss for the t-shirts he helped finance and, more importantly, the props that he bought. This prop that Howard is holding is a Lancer from the game Gears of War and cost $300. It had less than 30 seconds of screen time and was even less relevant to the plot, yet was the majority of shared expenses. He would use this and other items to try to convince viewers and friends that Project 7 was not profitable, disregarding his egregious spending habits.
Yeah, it's more about respect and being fair.
It's about respect, man. You have no respect for your friends, for your family. You don't give a shit about anybody but yourself.
There were plenty of examples of DSP's poor spending habits. Few trump his
So
3
many,
custom-made
like
quilts.
WWE champions.
These quilts, individually and also factoring inflation, cost Phil a minimum of $1,000. How much was Phil earning?
The good news is this, okay? I'm an intelligent person. I'm a finance major. I went to school for finance. I knew day one when I started making money off of YouTube that I was going to bank it. I was not going to go out there and invest in things that I couldn't get money out of. I'm still here in the condo. I didn't go out and buy a super overexpensive house, and I didn't go out and buy a sports car. Yes, I am driving a BMW, but it's actually a lot more economical than people really think.
On DSP Gaming alone, for the year of 2012, he got 85.19 million views. Dividing that by 1,000 is 85,190. Multiplying that by $2, not $2.25, which it could sometimes be, but $2 as a base CPM for Machinima, excluding the possibility of bonuses, would mean that he made a gross of $170,380 for 2012.
And yet he has none of that money.
The problem now that
the money
he
is
was
all
presenting
gone.
his audience, starting 2013, is that Machinima was renegotiating many other contracts. What this meant for Phil is he went from sometimes earning $2.25 per 1,000 views to a base $2.
In the year of 2012, my views really have dwindled. And what I mean is, I believe in the year of 2011, I probably got somewhere over like
$170,000 and it's all gone.
DSP Gaming. And then in 2012, I only barely reached like 8.5 million or something like that. I don't think the final number is in yet.
DSP lied and understates his views by nearly tenfold. Not only is this proven incorrect by archives such as Social Blade, this is proven incorrect directly on his own YouTube channel, where there are screenshots from the start of 2012 to the beginning of 2013 that shows he got nearly 90 million views. It was also here that Phil was toting his financial responsibility.
You don't see me here with super expensive clothes on or anything, and you don't see me wearing jewelry and shit. You know, I'm smart. I've banked my money. So, regardless of what happens in this next year, I'm still okay. So I just want everyone to understand that.
Phil was ever confident that, even though he was now riding a downward trend, he could survive. His tune would change in the coming months as he would have to navigate troubles that were exclusive to him and the culture he was inadvertently creating.
Womp womp.
What could be the two reasons? There are two underlying reasons why he would have made this video.
Come on! That's why I didn't want to fucking restart the game.
Number one, he's just insanely jealous of me.
Hey, not my fault. I love it.
Sons of Kojima.
Is that the guy?
No,
is
it's
one of these
EvilAJ,
gamers, like I mentioned, who play the games to feel accomplishment.
EvilAJ time.
What the fuck?
On February 15, 2013, YouTube user EvilAJ 2010, in direct response to Phil claiming his videos are well received, uploaded a compilation of Phil's Metal Gear Solid 2 playthroughs with only the clips of his failures or Phil's obscene commentary.
I fucking miss.
Even with that considered, the supercut was nearly an hour long. In addition to this, it included AJ's own text commentary and images of many comments found under Phil's original Let's Play. Where many channels failed to capture the negative yet entertaining aspects of Phil, AJ was succeeding. A month later, in March, his video was up to 77,000 views, and word was spreading.
DSP is a weird guy. It's like a train wreck that you can't look away from.
Exactly how I described him.
Every day, 10 times a day.
24 hours.
Oh, come on, guys. Come on.
The reason EvilAJ's video was so successful was both external to Metal Gear Solid and internal. The external elements that bring interest are that DSP has continuously bled viewers through his lack of editing, refusal to use a capture card, and poor gameplay. The elements that are internal and why Metal Gear Solid was the perfect game to capture the essence of Phil is foremost that Kojima, the person that heads the creation of the series, is well respected within the gaming community, as are his creations.
Everyone loves Kojima.
The Metal Gear Solid series chiefly requires critical thinking, as it is required to appropriately employ every item in your arsenal, as well as to react quickly in tense situations. It also requires patience to be able to learn enemy patrol patterns or learn from one's mistakes.
Has none of.
Phil lacks severely in both of these fields and approached Metal Gear Solid 2 as an action game, brute forcing his way through situations that require nuanced approaches, all while criticizing Kojima.
Kojima wants to make movies. Kojima does not want to make video games. He will really, you could tell, he wanted to make a bunch of long movies or miniseries of this stuff.
EvilAJ, in April and July, will go on to release This Is How You Don't Play Metal Gear Solid 3 and Metal Gear Solid 1 respectively. This manifestation of dislike of Phil could not have come at a worse time for him. Not only were his views plummeting, unrelated to AJ, he was also desperate to staunch the loss of viewership to the point he finally caved in and began using a capture card.
That John Rambo set up.
Live streaming.
Don't forget, John Rambo set it up for him.
Editing his playthroughs and pushing out more videos than the average person cared to watch. Phil was still steeply behind on the curve, losing viewership to rising Let's Players.
How many more people are doing Let's Plays? Like, it's ridiculous the amount of people who have gotten into it, to the point where a website like YouTube, unfortunately, doesn't really feature anyone but the top 2 or 3 guys who are doing it. I mean, let's face it. Why do you always see the same people in, related videos, featured videos? For the person who's not at the tippy top, it's so hard for people to get noticed now on YouTube.
Oh, were you expecting something else?
The irony is that Phil's accumulated viewership was influencing the algorithm to keep advertising his content. The loss of viewership was because people were familiar with what he produced and stayed away from it despite him to pushing it.
There's the kind of person who would say, oh no, I lost views, stop my feet, oh man. But I would say, no, I'm going to stay positive, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Phil was losing viewership and supporters. Chris, or Mighty Furtado, the 18-year-old that co-made DSP's website and was responsible for building his computer, actually had a falling out with DSP. Starting with Chris calling DSP lazy for initially not wanting to adapt to direct capture, which DSP demanded an apology for. At that point, Chris had had enough and stopped supporting DSP, leaving DSP to purchase the domain back.
Whenever I tried to help, he kind of just shot on me for it. So at that point, I was like, why am I going to support somebody who I've been trying to help for so many years? You know, I co-created him a website, co-created his forums, co-built his gaming PC. I've helped him so much. And when I try to help him try to adapt to direct capture, he's not kind of really taking the suggestions from myself as well as everybody else in the chat during that time.
It doesn't end there. With Chris now persona non grata, DSP made extreme claims without evidence about the price of the PC Chris had built. Chris, not pleased with this, made a video in response.
He had
people have tried to help him over the years, and he always shits on him because he knows better.
Apparently $3,000.
I'm better than you
and
guys.
That wasn't the case.
The actual amount a DSP paid for the PC, as shown through Chris's receipt, and a few $100s extra that was sent, was off by a maliciously large margin.
So I had actually made my own video defending myself, and I had shown the PayPal receipts of DSP sending the $1,600.
DSP to this day cannot provide evidence or reason why he claimed the PC cost $1,400 more than it actually did. To make matters even worse, it turns out Chris paid for the shipping out of pocket.
We actually paid an additional $150 from out of pocket from my side just to ship the computer.
That may have been the last of his direct interactions with Phil, but not with others that opposed him. A portion of Chris's second video is in defense of EvilAJ, even showing that he was in communication with him. And then there were videos coming out supporting Chris.
Very recently, there's been a lot of videos that have been coming out on YouTube about Darkside Phil, exposing him or whatever. The one that really got me was the one that was made by Chris, of Chris and Teo, who designed Darkside Phil's website for free and built him a computer.
There was a rising community of support, one that was built on the common dislike of Phil. The threads were being intertwined in such a way that new channels making This Is How You Don't Plays would sometimes pay homage to EvilAJ.
As they should. Crouch jump!
Doing walkthroughs of this game and they just easily jump up here, and I can't do it at all. Look, I can't fucking jump up here.
How are people able to jump up here? Look, I can't jump up here.
The crouch jump. Defeated by something as simple as a crouch jump.
Jump.
Yes.
You won't even jump. Look, jump. You fucking idiot. Okay. Whew.
Viewers were quickly realizing that DSP, with his near 4 years on YouTube, had a treasure trove of videos to sift through and inspire compilations or different forms of content. Whether it was Panda Lee's abrasive personality and dislike of the Kingdom Hearts series,
I'm here trying to play a fucking game. It's hard to concentrate when a bunch of little immature shits get into a fucking argument with my girlfriend. Fuck you.
a DSP soundboard,
Cock-a-dookie bullshit, mumblefuck nonsense.
or just DSP's giveaways that would sometimes just be empty video game cases.
So to warn everyone, just to show you for full disclosure, no game.
There was so much material dated by his pre-capture card era. Some of these videos were titled DSP Tries It as to try to dominate his own Tries It series on the search results. An additional purpose of these was to create videos that were shorter snippets of DSP rather than the long-form This Is How You Don't plays. Some just criticized DSP's habits outside of games, like DSP Tries It, compulsive hoarding, and being a man-child. A video that covers Phil's newly released 2013 condo tour that shows just how much worse his living space has gotten.
This is what has happened to my condo in the past year. I've gotten so much stuff that my condo just can't look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the floor. Look at this. It's a fucking hideous mess. And I wish...
It's your hideous mess.
I really wish that I had somewhere to put this shit, but I don't.
Tied to this was the curiosity about DSP's expenditures. In 2013 alone, he took at least 4 trips. Every one of them, he paid for at least one additional person, whether it was John Rambo or Panda Lee, sometimes both. The reason this was becoming relevant was because of DSP's focus on his decline of views and earnings. His critics could be just as excessive with their own commentary.
Have you been on Darkside Phil's stream when he fucking flips out of people using adblock? About how you're it's like going into his house and robbing him and taking all his shit.
That'd probably do him a favor though if he took all that shit out of his
Man, you're taking my money.
condo.
That's just like if you use adblock on one of my videos.
But you know what would be great? You could really take some lessons if we went into his house and lynched him.
4chan was also in on this, creating green text that
Yes.
accompanied other memes. As to only help the building tension, DSP set out on attacking other creators whose channels towered over his own.
God, it's so fucking good, guys. I'm loving this. Thank you guys for joining me for this. Even with the issues that I had. Thank you.
Who loves
It's
gaming,
so
is
fucking
doing it for the
good.
love of gaming, and he's actually showing up in my fucking related channels.
PewDiePie's channel had over 100 times the subscribers that Phil had, and there was no doubt that they shared viewers, so these comments assured that those viewers would not return to Phil. What's more is that Phil would talk about how big of a fan PewDiePie was of him.
Yeah, that's right. PewDiePie has said he was inspired by me to make videos. He used to watch my content back when he had no money to buy games. He would watch me play the games. That's how he got the idea to make his content.
PewDiePie did in fact like some of DSP's videos back in 2011, though as Phil's barrage continued, PewDiePie would have a change in opinion. As for now, the other leading channel that he was personally at odds with was Tobuscus, who launched his own gaming channel. On top of that, he promoted NCAA Football 2013, and his video on it was used as an advertisement for the game on YouTube.
Nice.
Phil, displeased with what he perceived as
Good for
YouTube
Tobuscus.
advertising his competitors, was quick to
Hey,
make
it's fine,
an
Johnny.
on
We
it.
tried.
And here's why I'm upset. I'm not upset that he's advertising the game. That's fine. It's even a gaming-related ad. I understand why it's on my video. But at the end of the fucking ads, there's a link to his channel.
Phil was thoroughly lambasting entertainers and games that his audience enjoyed. Games that were rising in popularity like Minecraft for its lack of story.
That he fucking hates.
This made the rounds so much that even the creator of Minecraft commented on it. Because of DSP's rapid decline, there was inversely a lucrative market to make content criticizing DSP. A group of creators would soon fly a banner that would be seen
Sons of
across various
Kojima.
channels. The Kojima World Order, or the
Kojima World Order was
KWO,
first.
was the unifying group for what was being called troll or detractor channels. The origin of the name came from Phil himself and his criticisms of Kojima.
I'm joining the Kojima World Order as of right now. Everything that Kojima has made,
is godlike, without question. Burn up, bam, bam, burn up, bam, bam. Kojima World Order. Kojima World Order.
2013 ended far differently than it began, with DSP's views still on decline and a decline in how DSP was viewed. It made for Phil's worst year yet. And in 2014, the detractor videos and memes evolved rapidly. Phil could only add fuel to their fire.
I say, Jim made fun of it too.
Okay, what is up, everybody? Darkside Phil here, and welcome
Exactly,
to
Parbs. It's all negative. It's
for Tuesday, February
the fuck up, James.
2014. And before everyone says what
fucking classic video,
you probably hear an incredibly annoying, high-pitched droning sound going on.
Yeah, your
that
voice.
Is the fire alarm in my condo facility, and the problem is the fire alarm in this condo facility has a nasty habit of, during the middle of the winter, especially when it's very cold, of going off as a malfunction.
That was from DSP's release date
That part, that's
unboxing
getting
video.
pinned.
The first 3 minutes, Phil is talking about the ongoing fire alarm. Then he shifts to criticizing prior games. Then to the fire alarm, and then DSP picks up the camera, takes it to the door, and shows he stuffed paper towels in the slits to muffle some of the ongoing alarm. In the entire 14 minutes, DSP failed to open and quote-unquote unbox the game. This screenshot, which included DSP's comment realizing his mistake tied to the title of the video, is what DSP was now known for. Though few videos of his own rarely capture this entertainment from failure in such a way.
What's up, boss? Is it time?
As predictable as Phil was in the gaming space with his commentary, his decisions, especially the financial ones, were seldom predictable. Phil, mid-2014, finally committed to move. Some discernible reasons for a move were mainly tied to having a larger living space, allowing for more storage, and would give Phil and Panda Lee their own space as they were seeking
Panda, how you doing,
together.
boo?
Common strategies would suggest Phil would either sell or rent his condo and then move in somewhere close by. This would allow easy access to the condo for maintenance. The social elements are as important, like his friends and family that were all living in Bridgeport. With this in mind, what does Phil do?
I got the confirmation over the weekend that we are good to go. We are closing this week. By the end of this week, I will be the owner of a beautiful new townhouse / condo in Washington State. It's probably going to cost me about $7,500. I shit you not, it's that expensive to move across the country.
Phil had decided to move from Connecticut to quite literally across the country to Washington to purchase a condo for $265,000. What's more, for 2013, with Phil's viewership on his main channel, he had made just shy of $100,000 gross, a steep decline from the $170,000 gross in 2012. This indicates continued loss of revenue and pressure to pull back on spending. And even though Phil should have money saved up, he was still petitioning his audience for donations.
Right now, I'll be honest with everyone, the past month to 2 months, April and now May, up to now have been pretty slow. But, you know, I needed a little bit of help in these times when things are slow, okay?
The situation he was revealing was far more dire than initially thought. Phil was technically still in debt as he paid the minimum on his mortgage for his Connecticut condo, and as later revealed, Phil, as he claims, emptied his bank account to finance a move, meaning somehow the hundreds of thousands of dollars he should have saved were supposedly gone. In addition to this, he began using credit cards to continue his lavish lifestyle that was far beyond unsupportable. Quote, I'm a successful YouTuber and lots of people dislike me because I am successful and outspoken. I should have signed up here with a different name, but I didn't think that far ahead. I may do so now. Unquote. This was Phil in a forum for the mobile game WWE Supercard, which is essentially a collectible card game of sorts with an emphasis on microtransactions themed around the well-known American wrestling organization. Quote, I just got my second in the Hulk Hogan challenge and spent around $200. For $1,200, I think, you can buy a pack of 1,500 title matches, which is enough to win the event doing straight +5s. Unquote. The jargon around the game was hardly interesting to any detractor. What was Phil's knowledge of the cost of items and his spendings of potentially thousands of real-life dollars in a time he supposedly did not have any money to spend. Yet, he was financing Panda Lee's new soap-making business. Phil also renewed the lease on a BMW that he would drive at most 2,000 miles a year. Evidence of Phil's poor spending had been mounting for some time, but never has it been this overwhelming.
Once my equipment shows up, my new PC, I'm hoping to get to work with higher quality videos for you guys, so next week will be an interesting week to test it, right?
1, 2, 3, or 4 if you include the capture card Phil is using. That's how many capture cards Phil has. He purchased 3 new ones to test them out. The comments discuss the absurdity of Phil's purchases. Quote, lol. So he ordered 1 capture card, changed his mind, and bought another. Then changed his mind again and bought another, all before the first could even be delivered? You got more money than sense, or your credit card debt is rising. Wouldn't it be worth doing some research before buying them? Dude, you could just figure this stuff out with a Google search. Lol. Unquote. What the comments miss is that Phil also bought a new, pre-built PC from CyberPower within the week of the capture card video, and did the unboxing live, taking his chance to mock the PC might have Furtada built for him by stating,
"This is how you do ship a PC."
Case is cracked.
We already got a broken piece of plastic. Already a broken piece of plastic. That might be why the top is moving. It's the post that goes through that holds this in place broke off in shipping.
The price of the PC was $3,000. Here it is in action.
What the hell? The game's choppy as fuck on my new PC. Great.
Womp womp.
So he didn't know that there was an option to switch from encoding with your CPU and encoding with your GPU. Like, he just didn't know how to use his PC.
I freaking maxed it out. It went to 100%, so I cannot play a PC game on 1080p 60 frames per second and capture and stream at the same time. It doesn't work.
The irony of all this is that Phil later cited Seattle's tech sector as one of the reasons for the move, despite not having any formal education or even general competence in the field.
Today.
As for the exorbitant spending on equipment, DSP could cite that he was trying to improve the quality of his streams and also deduct the purchases for taxes, but he was ignoring the fact that gaming content was being improved by editing the unnecessary parts out. Phil was still refusing to do this. His cited reason, he was a gamer. Quote, I'm a gamer, not a video editor, entertainer, actor. I like to play games, not edit videos of them. Unquote. His choice of trying to improve the visual quality and not the experience I like him raw was turning around to bite him at every angle. In November of 2014, a Twitch mod jumped into Phil's streams requesting he lower his bitrate. Because
when you watch them, they only post the highlights. Like, well, is that actually how good the game is?
He was unhappy with the outcome, especially with all the money he invested in improving
Wukong,
the
and you only see the highlights. Like, well,
in
then
an
you
act
see
of
the invisible
defiance,
walls.
Phil deleted his Twitch account, opting to stream on YouTube, where he would not be burdened with Twitch's limitations. This move, that was meant to increase viewership via higher quality streams, actually had Phil lose viewership, as few Twitch native users were loyal enough to migrate. Phil was now going from blunder to blunder, miscalculating, misunderstanding, failing only in ways he could. For example, he allegedly launched a fan art campaign. The participants on Twitter gleefully joined in and shared their art. Only they weren't fans. This contrast, this continued failure was too...
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, that's not good. Yeah, YouTube's down to yellow now for some reason. I know that's back up to excellent connection, but what the fuck is going on? No, my internet's fucking working. What the fuck is going on?
I maxed it out. It went to 100%, so I cannot play a PC game on 1080p 60 frames per second and capture and stream at the same time. It doesn't work.
The irony of all this is that Phil later cited Seattle's tech sector as one of the reasons for the move, despite not having any formal education or even general competence in the field. As for the exorbitant spending on equipment, DSP could cite that he was trying to improve the quality of his streams and also deduct the purchases for taxes, but he was ignoring the fact that gaming content was being improved by editing the unnecessary parts out. Phil was still refusing to do this. His cited reason, he was a gamer. Quote, I'm a gamer, not a video editor, entertainer, actor. I like to play games, not edit videos of them. Unquote. His choice of trying to
so it was Joon, not me. Oh, thank God.
Of his streams was turning around to bite him at every angle. In November of 2014, a Twitch mod jumped into Phil's streams requesting he lower his bitrate. This is basically asking him to lower the quality. While Phil complied, he was unhappy with the outcome, especially with all the money he invested in improving the visual quality. In an act of defiance, Phil deleted his Twitch account, opting to stream on YouTube, where he would not be burdened with Twitch's limitations. This move, that was meant to increase viewership via higher quality streams, actually had Phil lose viewership, as few Twitch native users were loyal enough to migrate. Phil was now going from blunder to blunder, miscalculating, misunderstanding, failing only in ways he could. For example, he allegedly launched a fan art campaign. The participants on Twitter gleefully joined in and shared their art. Only they weren't fans. This contrast, this continued failure was 2014. From this magazine that states Phil whines about...
We got him up, we set him up at Room and Board. It's a nice hotel that has a big suite. It's got its own kitchen.
Actively watching DSP, who was streaming around 6 times a week for several hours at a time, was no small feat. What started as laughing at Phil's terrible gameplay had turned into a higher investment into his continuing dramas. This Tumblr tries to capture the drama in 2014. From this magazine that states Phil whines about losing a lot, to Phil spending and conflict with creators like PewDiePie, who was now in on making fun of Phil. Phil's e-begging, conflicts, forum drama, a list of over 2,000 words. The most shocking fact was that it was still missing a fair amount of Phil's exploits.
So, but yeah, it's not me. It's actually Joon the King's video. Guys, could you imagine DSP actually takes us down?
Person, right?
Yeah,
Miles. And we are going to be joined by Loophole572 shortly.
That was the Sons of Kojima podcast. This channel rallied the prominent detractors of DSP. Fred Fox was at the helm.
Hey, there's Joon the King saying it's from YouTube side. So it's not me for once.
Fred Fox?
There are many things that make this channel exceptionally unique. Primarily is that this is a dedicated channel that trumps all others in terms of effort. The members that ebb and flow always had Fred Fox pathing the way, creating multi-hour-long podcasts, and though they put in much effort, they were getting arguably the least amount of traction for their investment. Rarely do detractors get less views than Phil himself, but when it came to the SOK, rarely did any other videos ever outperform Phil. The reason was that they were at the highest tier of investment in terms of Phil. They reached an extremely niche audience in an already superbly niche environment. Where the majority of videos were made to laugh at Phil's failures, the Sons of Kojima was trying to interact with Phil and in many ways make his life worse. On the surface, they will promote what they believed was their moral superiority by leading a charity drive that funded the construction of a well in Africa. But they, mostly through Fred Fox's will, attempted to dictate detractor communities beyond their own. They made the rule that detractors cannot monetize their channels and or make profit through Phil as to remain morally superior. Yet they, in the background, would work with others to strike Phil with illegitimate copyright strikes. Fan art played a central role in this campaign. In 2015, the Sons of Kojima ran free, and it's difficult to say how many trolling campaigns they were launching during this time. A time where Phil's views, for now the third year straight in 2015, were on a steep decline. The trolling community was active like never before, and Phil continued to suffer from the ramifications of his terrible financial decisions. Possibly to offset his continued losses, Phil was committed to launching this Patreon. But there was an issue. There was already a Dark Side Phil Patreon. This had many subscription tiers. On the lowest side was $1, or This Is How You Don't Donate tier. On the highest end was the 7 million tier, or the Theft tier. In between these were 15 more tiers, littered with inside jokes making fun of Phil. This parody Patreon, as it reserved the name Darkside Phil, was sequestered, and in January, Phil launched his Patreon to mediocre success. In February, the number of patrons greatly rose to 74, paying out a total of $1,166. What influenced this surge was Phil redesigning his Patreon to center around milestones that once hit would guarantee the release of a video or a stream around a game, like Minecraft that
hey,
Phil had to
it's
change
fine. I had
way.
issues earlier, now
Fans
apparently
now understood that this was not so much
issues.
a donation, but a guarantee, held by Patreon's
Oh,
milestone
fuck,
goals and Phil's own words.
New month,
But
which
it's
means I can
not
donate,
just a way of saying, here, take my money.
I can
and
donate again.
thank you. It's a way of investing.
memberships.
You spoke in droves and said we don't just want pure raw gameplay anymore. We want montages. We want better edited content in addition to the raw gameplay, and we like special events. You get what you want.
This had the added benefit of regaining some favor with his audience. He even began releasing edited montages around months or just his own game series. These, by their nature, were meant to compete against This Is How You Don't plays, or at least capture some of the market. As they failed to compete with them or even just surpassed his raw gameplay videos, he reserved them to a Patreon tier.
Memberships.
Also during this time, some videos criticizing DSP were being taken down. While DSP blames these takedowns on Machinima acting in their own interest, viewers took it as DSP wanting to suppress the negative attention. As these takedowns happened in March, the channels willing to fight the claims were reinstated in April. But when they were reinstated, they were immediately claimed, meaning that they could remain up, but all the money would go to Machinima. This same month, DSP released a video of him performing various actions in front of a green screen. It only took one day for a scathing video that utilized the green screen footage to be released. This included reference to Phil's decline in views, his alcoholism, and the copyright strikes applied to detractor channels. Additionally, Phil's diet of fast foods was coming back at him in full force. After all, current day, there is at least 17.5 hours of footage of Phil consuming fast foods or foods of similar quality.
My foot is incredibly swollen. You cannot tell from what I'm trying to show you there. It's about I'd say about 1.5 times.
Uh-oh.
The chubbiness of my other foot. So after doing a bunch of research online and after what everyone's been telling me, it sounds to me like I might have gout.
Gout, or historically known as the disease of kings, is caused from a diet abundant of alcohol and red meats. This news spread quickly.
He has gout? How does he have gout?
Gout, copyright strikes, continued loss of viewerships, and the rise of the Sons of Kojima were only the start of Phil's difficulties for 2015. His financial situation had gotten to the point that he was selling his statues that he could not accurately
But it's not me though, thankfully.
declare the quality of.
Joon.
Back of the box.
Joon is crashing
When it
YouTube,
moved,
guys.
It got a little nick in it, but it did absolutely no damage to anything inside because it has lots of styrofoam inside. His comb has damage. Gotta call that out.
As poor as Phil was with communication, there was one instance that him reaching out very well saved his life.
They all have these super... Uh-oh. Hold on. Hold on, everyone.
The wellness check.
I might have some cops outside. Hold on.
In the afternoon of June 24, 2015, someone called Phil's local police department claiming they had shot their parents and had a hostage. This was a swatting and the police had to respond. Luckily, Phil had called ahead in fears that something like this would happen. Due to that, and because the caller did not identify themselves, they went in with the expectation that they were possibly not in danger. If not for these circumstances, this visit could have ended far worse.
Shame on you if you've ever made a "this is how you don't play" about me. If you
That's
ever
right, EvilAJ tried to murder
follow
him.
me, make a clone account on Twitter, do this childish shit on YouTube. If you thought it was funny to dox me, if you thought it was the DDoS
We made it to
attack
2015,
funny,
guys.
You almost got me killed. You.
EvilAJ almost murdered him with
This
how you don't play,
shifting of blame
guys.
and unjustly targeting the detractor community as a whole for the deranged acts of one person further soured relations with the detractors, yet gained a bit of sympathy for those that were not in this vortex. Phil was frustrated not just at the detractors, but also the fact that the media was not picking up on the story, meaning
Oh, come on, Joon. How's Joon gonna be the one that breaks YouTube? I'm sure DSP's like, guys, my documentary broke YouTube. My documentary was so popular, it broke YouTube. Snort. Stream felted. Rip, we're breaking the internet.
in no way, other than to drive Patreon donations, does this goal make sense. The original Project 7 was a failure by all aspects, and now Phil was here offering to relaunch the series with just 2 days of work. Likely due to this, viewers were asking John Rambo if he was playing a part in it. Coincidentally, John Rambo on his own channel released a skit perhaps related to the news.
Hi, my name is John, and I'm special because I upload videos to the internet. But being so important does have its dark side. In fact, it means that my life is much more difficult than everyone else's. This is why I've opened a Pay Me Tons account. It's an internet website that allows people like me to receive lots of creativity from people like you. Simply log in and transfer the entirety of your bank account into my Pay Me Tons account. I won't even get out of bed for less than $50.
With Phil's relation with John Rambo in disarray,
womp womp. And then there we go again. Joon the King breaking the internet. Guys, it's a good idea that I waited to do it to the night stream, so hopefully it won't crash like it's going right now. Alright, it was an absolute Disaster, guys. It was insane. Man, I can't believe we broke the internet. Well, but we'll wait for this to come back. And the beard falls apart as the years go by. Susan, help! Yeah, Joon the King, this is from YouTube, not me. He doesn't know what's going on. Comcast detractors at it again. DSP was actually in the chat for a bit. Ooh, that's interesting. Well, I have an idea, because you know what's about to start, right? Guess what's about to start? Where is Raphael? Raphael, be ready. There's DSP. 10:39. Good morning, all. Wrong button. So all that's up, and we wait for this to come back up. Rollback netcode. It dropped June's inputs. This is very fucking annoying. Tier level podcast. Let's see. He was talking about John Rambo Speaks Out. So we're at an hour and 39 minutes into the documentary because he was just on to the John Rambo Speaks Out. After that is the we're right to the camera's been on the whole time. We're right to the... Oh, are you kidding me? Camera's been on the whole time, but the stream is not on the whole time, guys. It's June the King's buffering.
The NFL season will be back before...
Go away.
With Phil's relation with John Rambo in disarray...
Nope. I tried refreshing and it still doesn't work. Yes. It's over! DSP won! And then Tractors felt it. Well, is it just gonna be live now?
Darkside Phil is a...
I mean, if it's live now... Oh, hey, here we are. I mean, the video's live, so I guess we watch it without
2 days later, on November 28th,
chat.
they, including Phil, were given their answer.
Hello, I'm John, and I'm joined by Howard.
This was the same podcast that was used earlier in this video that talked about the production of Project 7. John Rambo decided to upload this to a separate channel and then deleted it about a day
football
after.
starts this
Then it
weekend,
was
can't
reuploaded in
wait.
perpetuity by channels archiving the material. And so in permanence was this about hour-and-a-half podcast of evidence where John Rambo details his falling out with Phil. From Phil unfollowing him on Twitter, to Phil drunkenly messaging him late at night while watching their Let's Plays and not calling him even though John Rambo said he preferred that over text. It was all of this, plus other minute issues like merchandise both parties invested in, Phil's susceptibility to trolling, his self-destructive tendencies, and other private elements that caused his falling out. At the end, John Rambo offers an olive branch by stating that a phone call could fix this. But Phil never did call, and so Phil lost touch with the last friend he had. Not even a month later, now closing 2015, Machinima informed Phil that they would no longer honor the $2 CPM contract and would instead swap to paying him with the raw ads, which would further decrease his earning potential. Everything appeared to be working against him, and the idea that was meant to breathe life into his channel did not come. What did come was something else.
What was coming was something else.
What is up, everyone? Hello, hello, and welcome. Oh, the camera's on. The camera's been on the whole time, huh?
Phil attempted to his most